Hey y'all, welcome back to Tobacco Leaf Legacies. I'm Cheryl, and I am out here on an absolutely beautiful, perfect fall day. It's just cool enough this morning to need a jacket, but it will be warm enough this afternoon for short sleeves, and then it'll be cool enough again tonight for another jacket. And that's just perfect. Well, anyway, the video today is going to be another fun one, I call it. And I have somebody coming out and we're going to do some metal detecting. I have seen people do this my entire life, especially living near the beach. You always see somebody at the beach with a metal detector doing their little thing, back and forth across the sand and all that. And I've always thought that looked fun. I know some people actually find really amazing things when they do that, which is pretty cool. I'm not anticipating that exactly out here, but someone, I don't remember who it was, I'd have to go back to the video and look at the comments, but one of you suggested this. I hadn't even thought of it. Somebody else had said, oh, why don't you get a metal detector out there? That'll be fun. And I just thought, oh my gosh, yes. Yes, like that's so cool. How come I didn't think of that? Because I've been over the last year or so, really racking my brain trying to come up with different things to do out here. And I see my neighbor, so I'm gonna pause this just a second. Okay, just had to say hey to my neighbor here for a minute. Anyway, so like I said, I have been racking my brain trying to think of different things to do, different videos to do, different photos to do, time lapse to do. I mean, just, excuse me, just anything like that to have, because, as I've said a zillion times, we're not going to have it. And so I'm just trying to do any kind of preservation that I can. And so the metal detecting is just something kind of fun. Like I said, I've always wanted to do it anyway. I've watched people do it. So I have somebody coming out, and it's something he does. He's actually a realtor, but it's just something that he does on the side for fun. And so he's going to come out and we're going to spend, well, we'll see how long, maybe a couple hours. I mean, I guess you can only cover so much land. I'll have to ask him some questions when he gets here. You can only cover so much ground at a time. And there's a bit of land out here to walk over. And I'll just say I'm not anticipating finding anything major. I'm anticipating finding parts of tools. Because, this is a farm. And so as I have gone through and found stuff, what I have found is pieces of tools, which is fine. Because even if it's an old tool, something granddaddy had, or a piece of something or whatever, that's still cool to me and I'll still keep it. But we'll see. We'll see. Regardless, it's just something fun to do and something I've always wanted to do. So we're going to do it. I'll be back. Okay, so I am here with Ben. He is our metal detector guy, and he's going to show us the metal detector here in a second and kind of explain how that works. But I wanted to ask him some questions too that, I kind of wanted the answers to, and I thought some of you might find kind of interesting. And I'm just going to keep it this way. I figure that's going to be easiest. Okay, so how did you get started?
In metal detecting?
Yeah.
So, we were talking earlier about the history of just collecting items and, have a few different collections. One of the things I collected was coins. And so I thought it would be cool to buy a metal detector. So when I was at the beach, possibly find some coins after watching, other people on YouTube and hearing about other people when I would go to the beach.
Yeah, you always see him at the beach with it.
Yeah, one of my friends, Tommy, who lives down in Miami, let me borrow his metal detector one time when I was traveling and to look for stuff, and I just fell in love with it.
That kind of did it, because you could actually use it and play with it.
Yep, and it was,
nice.
And I used it at the beach, so that's a little bit easier when you're doing it there because you don't need to dig for anything, right? The sand you just kind of sift through. So
right, awesome. All right, so what is the maybe coolest thing or weirdest thing that you have found doing this?
The coolest thing I've found, The coolest thing I've found is probably an older Indian head penny.
That is cool.
It was on the beach, which is kind of weird. You know, finding a coin like that on the beach, I thought was kind of odd. Weirdest thing I've ever found, I had a big strike. You know, when this thing finds something, you get a loud beep, and it was kind of dusk outside. It was a little bit dark. I actually have a video or picture or video of my daughter was out there, and I found this. It was like an iron triangle. I think it was a piece of like a ship anchor or something.
Really?
And I dug out this huge pit, and it was kind of sitting in the middle. And I was joking with my kids, "Oh, we found, a UFO, like a portal to another dimension."
Yeah.
And it was just a weird thing. I don't know what it was. It was probably some part of an anchor or something. And that was at Topsail Beach. They dredge sand and make a big berm. So I was kind of checking that sand at the top because that's fresh sand from wherever they were dredging it from. And I'd heard a guy had found a couple of gold Spanish doubloons out there, so I combed that whole beach that week, right?
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Okay, so what is the hardest part about doing this?
Just the patience, really.
The time, maybe?
The time and the patience, and you get a lot of, like, if there's any aluminum can tabs, if you find, especially on a property like this where you have multiple buildings and it's been in the family use for a lot of years, farmers would have trash pits. So when you get around there, you get a lot of what we call dead strikes, or fake hits.
Right.
So you just got to work through that. Maybe even flag that area and come back. So that's the most time consuming part, I think.
Okay. Is the equipment expensive?
Or
maybe are there like varying costs of these?
I think for under $1,000 you could get a pretty good setup. So I have, one of the nicer Garrett. I mean, this is a reputable brand. It's an Ace, and the magnet is waterproof, so you can actually use this in shallow water if you wanted to,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
So if I'm near a creek or something and I want to submerge this, it's okay. Little bit nicer. It depends on what you're searching for and what you're using it for. This one just, to me, was comfortable. It came with a couple accessories, a bag and everything, and then I bought this, it's a pinpointer. So this is when you've got the dirt out, and you, instead of using the larger part, the end of this serves as a metal detector, so you can kind of find the spot in the dirt of whatever your strike was, right? So again, I can't remember how much these were actually, but I mean, maybe for $500 you can get a really nice setup, in my opinion.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's see. Just a couple other things I thought would be cool to ask you. So, with these, what do you need to know, like, legally? Is there anywhere you absolutely can't go? Do you have to get permissions in certain places? I mean, aside from somebody's personal property, of course.
Yeah, I mean, private property, of course, always get permission. You cannot search in state or national county parks. Got to be careful. You really do need to be careful and know the laws. I don't know all of the laws. I know a lot of people who go to like local town parks and go to like the picnic area, right, where somebody might sit down and something would fall out of their pocket, or beaches and whatnot, maybe at Jordan Lake. But you've got to be careful about it. It's always a good idea, even if you were doing that and you weren't really supposed to be in that spot, and someone made you, notified you of that. Just make sure you're not disturbing the ground anywhere you're gonna dig up ground, right? I mean, sand is different. You just put the sand back, but when you're digging a hole in the ground, I mean, you should have permission from whoever owns that land, and
plus, that could be a liability issue if you're not putting it back.
Safety too, right? You don't know, how close there may be an electrical line or a gas line. So we're not digging that far.
Right.
You might reach a depth of, a foot or two with this, maybe a little bit deeper. But once you've been digging in dirt that deep, it's, you're not going to go 3 or 4 feet typically.
Right.
Unless you know there's something there.
It's not going to go that far in the ground. It doesn't go.
It could pull, it could pull a signal from there. But after you've been down, 12 inches, we're not doing archaeological expedition.
You're not excavating.
So we're trying to find things that are a little more shallow and easy to get to.
Right. Okay. And then the only other thing is, what is the best piece of advice for someone who is thinking about starting this? Should they do some research into the different kinds of metal detectors they can get? Should they maybe think about where they want to do this first?
I did a little bit of research, just, on Google, research different types, what the purpose is of those, watched a few YouTube videos. As far as getting to learn how to use the actual machine, what I did was just lay out on the ground a few test metals, right? So I had
that's a good idea.
Piece of iron, gold necklace, gold ring,
right?
Piece of silver, some aluminum, iron, just to hear what the different tones are and what it sounds like when you're on top of it, and also to learn at which part of the magnet here, because you see the shape of the magnet, you can redirect it where it's at the center of the strike, or you can also direct it where it's at the front. I like to metal detect where the strike is here, right? This one's really accurate as well. So that's one of the reasons I really like this one, because I found when I hit a strike up here, it's really accurate. I'm not searching a radius of, if this is a 12-inch magnet,
right? I
don't need to dig, a 12-inch hole. Right. I know that it's right at the tip there.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, that's cool. Well, since you were showing some of that, I'm going to flip this around, and so that way I can focus on that. So just kind of briefly, I guess, explain how these work.
Yep. So you have a magnet at the bottom, right? A wire that comes up to the display, right? And so there are different modes and sensitivity that you can use. This bullseye here is what I was explaining. So the front tip there, that kind of zones in on that. You have different depths here, right? And different settings. So iron, foil, ring, silver. So if we turn this on, right? You can set the modes for discovering everything, right? So this is everything. Jewelry, custom, relics, or coins. So you can switch. That's a coin profile, right?
So you can choose between the different things. You can either do all of it, or you can set specific. So
yeah, if you're on the beach, you really don't want to find every little piece of iron and foil. I will say that the aluminum can tabs, that profile is very similar to a precious metal, right? Yeah. So you might have a hit up here, and then it's a can tab. Yeah. Frustrating. It's just part of the game, right? It's part of it. So, again, there's a custom profile that you can set up, right? You can decrease sensitivity, increase sensitivity over here.
So there's a lot you can do with that.
This particular model, the Ace 400, you can really, you can add here, right?
Wow.
To the profile if you want. If you want a custom profile, you want to add foil in there, you can, right?
See, that's cool. I didn't know, and maybe some other people didn't know either, that you can do so much sort of customizing with this. Because I thought a lot of it just kind of had its own set things, and you put it on and you go out and there you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really can get very specific with this.
And there's a specific noise that it makes for iron. So again, on this property, we just want to find anything. We don't, because iron.
We're just doing it for fun,
right? And an iron may be a farming tool, right? Or a knife handle, or what it could be. Right. Could be a lot of different things. So you don't want to miss that sort of stuff in the beginning. If you start noticing a ton of it,
right.
Again, around the houses and everything, you might see a little bit more because of nails. The building process might have been from when they constructed the buildings, right? Or they had a scrap pile on one side that's been cleaned up, or trash pile, right?
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, I mean,
and then it's got headphones, so it's only beeping where you can hear it.
That's right. Yep.
Can you take that off? Does it have to go through headphones? Is that just how it's set up?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting question.
Because, I mean, I guess usually, like, if you're somewhere like the beach or whatever, you don't want it beeping and bothering everybody or whatever.
That's a great question. I've not used it without the headphones, but we can... Let's see if something... Yeah, it works.
So that's what you're hearing in the headphones. Yeah.
Yep. And that sounds different, right? Let's see if we can.
That is very cool.
Give me just a second. Well, actually, let's do this. There we go. Let's see if this sounds different. You hear that sounds different?
Yeah.
If you hear that, right? That's gold versus steel.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's different tones as well. Yep.
Very neat. Okay, well, we'll conclude this little part and then we'll get started.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Yep. Something iron right here.
A nail, probably, screw.
Yeah, it's not a big hit. It's just a... Not in your family's heirlooms. This is cool. I hope we find something cool.
What is it with this ground?
Let me do this right
I just don't have I just don't have the strength to, like... Well, the ground is so hard.
It's been here a while.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so hard.
Well, let's see what we got. So right there. Right there. What in the world?
What is it picking up?
Something in there. I don't know.
I don't know why it's metal or not.
It's weird, right? Oh, that's weird. Sorry. I hope you got that on video.
I was wondering.
Where's the video?
I was wondering if it was your ring when you had the dirt in your hand.
Wait, but it was sitting
Right there,
here, though,
right
without
there.
the rings.
Right there. It's lighting up right there. Do you have anything metal on? Is your fingernail polish metal? Have metal in it? There it is, a coin! We found a penny! That's amazing! What year is it? What year is it?
I think it's been...
Is it a penny?
It's a penny, because you can see on the back of it the lines in the building. I can't even
Might not be
tell.
far off.
We need to get...
Guessing maybe it's probably 16 or 17 or something, if you can see it.
Yeah, it's a Lincoln. Really cool.
I don't know, I may have to get a magnifying glass. I mean, it's been... You know, it's been worn and rubbed, so...
Gotta come prepared, right? Here you go. Yeah, put it right up to your eye and kind of hold it like this.
You can barely make out that it's a penny.
Probably like 2002 or something crazy. Where's the... Oh,
That's the back,
front.
yeah.
1974. Probably been in the ground since then.
Dude, you can see that?
Right there, I just scratched off that area right there. Probably been in there since we were born.
Well, yeah, because I was born
Right?
in
There you go.
74.
So
There you
it's probably
go.
been
Look
there.
at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, there you go.
What's that?
There it is.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's a big piece of iron right there. Yeah, that's an old paint can or something. Look at that. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Horse something, maybe?
Oh.
Yeah, that's an old aluminum, maybe an old oil can or something.
Mom said Jerry lost his wedding ring too, out by the boat. So, or one of them. He's lost it like twice now.
There we go.
Well, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe there'll be another place you can.
Heck yeah.
Do that would, and if you could find the rings, gosh, that would be. Mom's awesome. Like, oh yeah, I like that ring. I'm like, yeah. Maybe I'll kind of try to wash that.
Yeah, that thing is just. What is that?
I don't know.
It's. What is that, mirror finish? What is that?
So this is really fun digging for this stuff. Like I said, we found that penny that had 1974 on it, which is just as cool as can be. Found some other metal pieces. I'll have to kind of wash them off to see what they are. And then we just dug this out of the front of the shelter part here of the pack house. I mean, I'm sure it's broken off of, I don't know, some old tool, tractor part, something. I'm assuming that Granddaddy had that. Doesn't look, I mean, even like this, it doesn't look new. This is fun. Let's see what else we find.
Just like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Figure this little spot's gonna be kind of quiet.
Press down and hold it, and the closer you get to it, it'll make that other sound. Press it again, release it and press it again, and hold it.
Okay.
There you go. You see? Now that's at the tip of that arrow, so you can kind of zone in on it. Wave it left to right, too, to make sure you're over center of it. Yep. Right there. You ready?
Okay.
All right.
And if you want it to be a good day, you gotta do a good day's work. You gotta dig, 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 dig for your dinner. Nothing's what you get for free. You gotta dig, 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 dig for your dinner. Never was a money tree.
There you go. Yep. The tip of that is the same as this tool. It's that sensitive. So if you hear that loud tone, you should be right on it when you hold that button down. Kick that wand away. That puts off a strong signal. Yeah, there you go. Wow, it's right there too. Wow, it feels great out here now, doesn't it?
Yes.
What a beautiful day for metal detecting the homestead. Unless you feel it with the wand. Oh. Is it vibrating?
Yep.
Yeah, you're right on it then. We need a little garden spade.
Oh my God, what is that? Right?
What is it? A little aluminum?
I think that's
Aluminum can? Yay, we found it.
That was so much fun. Thank you again, Ben, for coming out, for humoring me with the video and answering my questions and walking around and finding stuff. I mean, you know, we may not have found any huge, treasure or anything, but honestly, just taking the time to do that, to do something new that I've always kind of been curious about, to see how it worked. It's amazing the tiny little pieces of stuff that will set that thing off. And I mean, set it off like, it's trying to tell you there's gold or something when there's not, but that's okay. So I'm going to flip this around really quick just to show you what we got. Pulled out this huge, regular lawnmower blade, which is cool. This right here, I don't really know, because I'm thinking this is the top maybe, because it has this like natural opening to it. And maybe like that's the bottom, because this is kind of, it's hard to see, but I mean, there's like an opening there. Maybe it's a smushed metal, some sort of metal container. Kind of interesting. That's probably part of another blade, maybe even part of a bush hog thing. That I'll probably ask my brother about. I think that's another old tool, or part of a tool. We found some coins, and I think I had it on video where I got, the first one was from 1974, which is cool because that's when I was born. This nail right here, oh my gosh, it really set it off too. A nail, I mean, that still just like amazes me. Now this stuff over here is obviously not that big of a deal. Just pieces of aluminum. Actually, I guess it's probably all aluminum. You get back in the light here. There we go. But still, the way that set it off, the way then you dig for it, and the extra little wand piece that he had to then, like once you've got the hole, to really try to pinpoint where something is. I just had so much fun. I mean, I really just had so much fun. Ben is awesome. When I come up here again next month, I am going to contact him again, and he had said that I could use it for a week and maybe go around and do some other stuff. So, maybe I'll find some more coins and some more nails and things like that, which is fine. Let me show you this piece over here. Now, you will probably remember, let me flip this around. Okay, all of this is metal. Okay, that is a huge just metal piece right there. I don't know what it originally was. See, it's got the hole in it there. But you see this right here? That's a ring, okay? And that's not dirt, it's not a dirt ring. And so what I did, well, I had my niece actually, had her sent, because I was still doing stuff out here with Ben, had her send the photo to my brother to ask him, because I found it right here. In fact, let me do this one more time. I've showed you the pack house, okay? Showed you the regular door. And remember the anvil that I showed you that Granddaddy made always sat right here, okay? And so we found it like literally right there. And as much as I have done out here and kind of around the perimeter of the pack house, just looking for stuff, pulling stuff out, whatever, I'm surprised that I didn't find that. I mean, it was right there. It's not like we had to dig 6 inches to get to it, right? And so when I sent it to him, because I just said, it's so weird that it's this huge piece with this hole in it with this ring. I'm like, well, what is that? Well, when he looked at it, he was like, well, we were telling him where we found it. And he's like, I bet that ring, that circle is the size of Granddaddy's anvil. And I just went, oh. Like if I could put a little light bulb up here, that's, what I would do. Because it was like, oh, okay, then I guess he must have had a stand. So I guess he put, that piece out there to give it a solid base, and then put the anvil on that. So I was like, oh, it has another part to it. I learned something new. I had no idea. So we're going to make sure to, keep that and keep it with the anvil. And I don't know, that was really cool. So I'm going to take Ben up on his offer, and when I get back up here, I am going to walk around some more. We only had like 2 or 3 hours today, and something like that, if you're really getting into it, you can spend the entire day doing it. I mean, really, and especially depending on how much you want to dig, like how much you really want to look for. you can just spend so much time doing it. So, you know, I've literally got one more trip up here. Makes me very sad. But I'll do it. I can borrow it, walk around a little bit, maybe try to dig up a couple holes. If I can dig into this ground, y'all, because some of these spots are just, whew, it's like trying to dig into a rock. I mean, you know, and in fact, we were talking about this when he was here. This area is on some sort of, there's a name for it. I'd have to look it up. I don't know what it is, but it is part of some sort of rock shelf, they call it. And there is rock everywhere. And when developers, you know, come out to these areas, they have to do blasting to get rid of the rock, you know, just so that they can manipulate the land and the ground and stuff like they need to. So a little crazy, but I will definitely give it a try because it was cool. So again, thank you, Ben. That was awesome. Y'all let me know in the comments what you thought about that. Have any of you done metal detecting? Maybe some of you have a metal detector. Let me know some of the things that you have found. Like I was asking him, let me know like the coolest thing or the weirdest thing or whatever. That would be really neat to hear. Or maybe we've encouraged you to take the plunge and actually buy a metal detector so that you can do this on your own. Just, you know, let me know because this is new, this is fun, this is neat. So I'm going to put my little treasures away for now. Well, except for that really one heavy one that's staying right where it is because I can't move that. So, and I'm looking forward to the next time that I can do this. This was really cool. So, you know what time it is. I will always remind you that time is precious. Carpe diem, seize the day. See you next time.